Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about The Bell in the Fog by Lev AC Rosen. The Bell in the Fog is the second of the Andy Mills mysteries. We talked about book one, Lavender House, last spring, and I was so excited to revisit this particular detective and this particular time of history. Andy Mills is a gay private investigator in the early 1950s in San Francisco. In book one, Lavender House, he goes to the titular location, Lavender House, and solves a murder there. And as we find him in book two, The Bell in the Fog, also a standalone mystery, but it does help if you have the context of Lavender House, dealing not with a murder, but with a case of blackmail, as he works as a private investigator over a queer bar, the Ruby. And he's investigating the blackmail of several men, homosexual men, in the San Francisco community, and most specifically his former lover from when he was in the Navy during World War II, who has come back into his life after a distance of, I guess now, 8 years. And really a charming mystery, these wonderful noir vibes, the neon lights and the fog of the city, and the smell of the salt, and, walking down alleyways as, like, tin cans roll in the wind and newspapers in the breeze, and also, very well researched historical novels that explore a very dangerous time in the lives of sexual and gender minorities in the United States, and just a real delight to see Andy in his milieu more. In book one, Lavender House, he's sort of removed from the city, removed from his context, so that he can solve this mystery and so that he can, come to understand himself a bit better. And here in book two, we really keep our focus in the city, in the places that he knows and the places that he's coming to learn about as he becomes more enmeshed in his community, and grapples with the discomfort of having been an arm of the state, having been a former police officer conducting raids on nightclubs and bars that cater to queer clientele. Now there's a tongue twister for you. And so overall, I just had a really lovely time with it. It came out this fall, and like many of the books that we're talking about here in January, it's one that I had hoped I could read in 2023, but didn't get a chance to, and so now we get to talk about it here, and of course, we had to have a drink for it. Our drink today is the Ruby. It is inspired by the bar over which Andy Mills has his office, and where he finds himself frequenting as he, works to pay the bills. And we're going to start with our base spirit, which is 1.5 ounces of rye whiskey. This is Andy's drink of choice, so we trade the gin of Lavender House for some darker, spicier rye whiskey. Really nice for those fall and winter days. And then something red, as you can see, the cover is very red, and something fruity, in the form of 3/4 ounce of raspberry liqueur. Lovely. Oh, yes. That smells so nice. It's going to bring a bit of sweetness, a bit of brightness, but still have a backbone because it is a liqueur and not a syrup. Next, we're going to get 1/2 ounce of molasses syrup, some darkness, some depth. Lovely. Get that in there. We have a character whose voice is described as having a molasses quality, so all the better for us there. And then finally, for our big bottles, 1/4 ounce of Luxardo Maraschino liqueur. It's a little bit nutty, a little bit sweet, a little bit floral and fruity, and it's going to bring that bit of mid-century, mid-20th century charm to our drink. It's really one of those premier vintage bottles that you want for those classic mid-century cocktails. And round things out with 2 droppers full of the crude Pooter smoke and salt bitters. We have this recurring imagery of smoke, of salt in the fog, this sea air, and so we want to bring just a bit of that to our drink. Not so much that it overwhelms, but enough that we know it's there. As always with bitters, it's easy to add more, hard to add less, so try the 2 droppers full. If you want a little more of that like smoky, salty punch, add another 1 or 2 and see where you go from there. Alright, we've got all of our liquid ingredients in our mixing glass. We can add ice and start to stir up our ruby. As always with these stirred cocktails, you want to stir for about 20 seconds or until the ice and the liquid are sort of at an equilibrium in the mixing glass. The ice is melting, it's mixing, and it's diluting our cocktail. And when you have ingredients like rye whiskey and these liqueurs, having those combinations together really does help to get that good dilution of the stirring. You wouldn't want to have something like this warm. Right? Lovely. It's looking good. Take our julep strainer. This is the vintage clamshell julep strainer from 1224. Really my favorite. And we're going to strain that into a Manhattan glass. Any sort of stemmed cocktail glass will work. And then finally, as a garnish, a little something extra. And to match our Luxardo Maraschino liqueur, we are going to add a Pure Luxury Luxardo cherry. Get that out with the garnish tongs. A little sweetness, a little treat, a little something to have on the edge of our glass. Let's get that a little further along. And there you have it. This is the Ruby, a stirred cocktail inspired by The Bell in the Fog by Lev AC Rosen. The Bell in the Fog, the second in the Andy Mills mysteries, is available now. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below, as well as a link to 1224, where you can get things like this vintage clamshell julep strainer. We've got links to various forms of social media, including Twitter and Instagram, where there's always a written version of today's recipe. Please hit that like button. It really does make me very happy. Share this video with your friends who haven't found Bar Cart Bookshelf yet. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Read the book. There's a 3rd one coming out this fall, Rough Pages. Really excited about that. I would love to see lots more mysteries with Andy Mills and in this sort of early 50s San Francisco. So, until next time, cheers.